the positivity. Wins Podcast is more than a podcast. It's a community for everyone who wants to live a better version of themselves. On this podcast, we will grow together through all the ups and downs, wins and losses in life to bring more positivity into our workplaces, homes, and circles. Thank you for tuning in. If you appreciate this episode, like, share, and comment, because when positivity wins, everyone wins.
Well, hello, friends, and welcome back to another episode of the Positivity Wins podcast. I'm your host, Ross Braun, and I want to take a moment to thank you. Yes, you. Thank you for joining in to another episode. If you haven't yet, you can go back and watch our previous episodes. I think this is number 3 plus an intro, and I've been overwhelmed by the feedback that's come out. Have a lot of people, reach out, say thank you, share the strategies that they've taken from various episodes and were able to implement right in their life, and it's making a difference. So that's it. That is the whole idea of this podcast, of this community that we're building. It's much more than just, these 20 minutes that we're talking each week. This is truly a community of positivity promoters that we're building. And I'm super thankful that you're on the journey with me. I'm super thankful to be building this out because our world needs it. Like we've said in previous episodes, our schools need it, but also our communities and our country needs more positivity. And another thing that they need is better leaders, more positive leaders. And so that's what today's episode is all about: positivity and leadership, inspiring teams through encouragement. So I'm excited. This is definitely a passion of mine. As you know, I would call myself a natural leader. Started way back in the early days in sports and on being a leader on teams. And then it grew throughout my professional life to where I am today at school life. But in my journey as a coach, teacher, principal, I've always taken on leadership roles. And so I'm excited to really dive into this because I believe that positivity and leadership need to go hand in hand. So before we do that, as you know, we're going to work through our playbook here. And first up on the playbook is just a positive stories. I've got a lot of different places, whether that's social media or a couple different websites that I love to fill my feeds and my day with positivity, especially in the mornings as I'm getting started, in the evenings, as we get ready for bed. And it's always good to end on gratitude, and it's always good to end on a positive message. And so I stumbled across this one this week, and it hit me. I just thought, how cool, because I think so many of us during the pandemic, during COVID, we were bored, right? We were stuck at home. We had COVID projects and new things that we started, but many of those have come and gone, and you're like, what was I thinking? But this one has stuck, and this comes out of New York. Asher Rosenfield, when he was 12 years old, he started reading to students or kids with special needs via Zoom during the pandemic. Everybody was locked inside, and Asher wanted to do something special and meaningful with the time that he had. And so he started this program via Zoom called Audibles with Asher. And Asher is now a senior in high school, and he's still reading to kids with special needs every single week. And as I was reading the article, and they were interviewing Asher and his mother, what I thought really stuck out, and I've talked about on these episodes, is that it was much bigger than just reading. It was a connection. It was a community that was built way beyond any book, way beyond Asher, and it stuck around. And so shout out to Asher for doing this. And that's your positive story of the week. It's all about impact. So let's dive into the nitty gritty here. And I told you already, but this is a passion of mine, and that's leadership. But not just any leadership, because there's a lot of people all over our country in our organizations that call themselves leaders, but in reality, they are managers, they are bosses, they are supervisors. And what do I mean by that? Because anybody can manage, supervise, but not everyone can lead. And so, what takes a great leader? There's a lot of different things, but it has to start with positivity. You have to be a leader that can bring positivity into your organization. And we're going to talk more about that. So a few of the questions, a few of the topics we're going to get deeper into is number one, why is leadership so important? So I want you to ask yourself that right now. Why is leadership so important? And not just in your workplace, but in your daily lives as well. The second question is, why does positivity matter in leadership? Ask yourself that right now. And maybe it's something you never thought about. Like, okay, yeah, I can think back and, the handful of bosses that I've had in my life, the ones that stick out to me that really made an impact or made me like my job were the positive ones. And so as you're thinking about this couple of questions, we're also going to dive into practical ways that you can lead with positivity. Yes, you, and I'll talk about that here in a second. And then how do we turn challenges into encouragement? And that's a big one for leaders. And so the first question is, why is leadership important? What do you say? We're all leaders. Let's set that straight right now. You may be thinking, no way, I'm not leading. I'm not going to get in front of a screen and talking to a camera every week, or I'm not going to get in front of the crowd. But all of us are leaders. We have those capabilities inside of us. And you don't have to be the loudest one in front of the camera to be a leader. You just have to do the right thing. You have to act and lead by example, and talk to my daughters about this a lot. It's okay to be a quiet leader. Lead from the back of the room because people are watching. And so at some point in our lives, there's going to be a time and a place where you are going to have to step up and be a leader. And that's what I want you to get out of this. Now, those of you that are leaders, and I know there's a lot of school leaders, especially that follow the Positivity Wins podcast and listen in each week, then this is truly, these are for you, no doubt. But we've got our workplace, our family, and our society. As I talked on episode 2, I really like to look at those as 3 different buckets in all of our lives. Right? We have our workplace, we have our family, and then we just have when we're out in public, in society, in our communities. And that doesn't mean that we are a different person in those 3 roles. It means that we just have different roles in those 3 buckets, and we have different things that we do in those 3 buckets. But all of them tie back to positivity. And today it's going to tie back into leadership. And so, why is leadership important? Well, number one, good leaders, let me rephrase that. Great leaders provide direction. All right. They provide direction to where we are going, because without leaders, it's so easy for us as humans to get off track. Right. But many of us get into squirrel mode, right? We self diagnose ourselves with ADHD. And really don't know if we all have ADHD now, but we have this thing called technology, and it's caused our attention spans to diminish down to nothing. And so it's so easy for us to get off topic and just miss our direction. Great leaders say, come back in. We're going this way. Here's our goal for 3 months. Here's our goal for 6 months, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years down the road. Great leaders need to be able to look down the field. They provide stability. A lot of times we feel that in our workplaces. We also feel that in our communities. We feel that in society. And a great leader is going to bring stability into whatever place they are at. And then number 3, I think it's so important, and we just forget about this. They provide inspiration, right? As humans, the majority of humans do not have that self motivation, do not inspire themselves daily just naturally. We need to have that coming in from great leaders that are around us. And so strong leaders also do this. They unify, right? They bring people together in times of crisis. They bring people together in times of challenges, not just during triumphs and the golden years. They also can make tough decisions. I've been there. I mean, had to make those tough decisions as a leader. They are not easy, but they have to be done. Those hard conversations have to happen. In the end of it, how can we come out of this better than where we were at? And then last goes back to number 3, but they inspire others. That's so important. And so, why does positivity matter in leadership? That was the second question I asked you. But three things here. I think positivity boosts morale. Again, it doesn't have to be, we're throwing money or throwing candy and treats every other day at our employees or at the folks that we lead and that we serve. We're just there to encourage and lift them up, saying, I got you. You need help. You need support. I'm here for you. It also increases production and retention. And this is a huge problem, not just in schools, but also in corporate America right now, is retaining employees, retaining the people that we serve and that we lead, because there's so many options out there, right? And I've talked to some leaders and they're like, well, I'm not going to hold, their hand or baby them. Like they're grown adults. And I'm not saying you have to do that, but you also got to take care of the people that take care of you, right? And a lot of times in leaders, we don't do that enough. We don't listen to them. We don't say, "Hey, how can I support you? I can tell that you're burnt out right now. I can tell you that you're struggling, and I want to pour some positivity into you right now. I want to be here for you, and let's get through this." And a lot of times we just maybe we might even see it, but we don't acknowledge it. I think that's a big one. And then toxic versus authentic positivity. I am, what do I want to say, accused of this a lot. That you're just a toxic positive person. Toxic positivity is something that makes me cringe. Because I am a positive person, I mean, I have this podcast for crying out loud, but my toxic positivity is authentic positivity. Yeah, it might be too much for some people at some times, but it's authentic. It always is. And so, what does authentic positivity look like instead of just toxic positivity? Well, toxic positivity is just waving your hands, walking around, kissing babies. Toxic positivity is just over the top all the time. I don't even learn your name, but I wish you the best. I hope nothing but the best for you. I don't get to know your story. I don't get to know where you're from. Authentic positivity is me truly wanting what is best for you. So I learn your name, I learn your story, I learn your journey, where you're from, and I get to know you on a personal level because I want the best for you. That's authentic. We miss that a lot of times is, we can want what's best for the people around us, but do we truly support them? Do we truly back it up? Not just with our talk, but do we walk the walk as well? So for me, that's the difference between those two. And then number three is, positive leadership. Make sure that the people that we serve are serving feel safe, valued, and supported. I was a school principal. I had those in my office, looked at them every single day. I wanted our students and our staff to feel safe, valued, and supported each and every day. And as humans, when we have those three needs met, that's when we can be at our best. We're safe. We're in an environment that we know we are safe. We're in an environment that we feel valued. What we are bringing to the table each and every day is valued by those that lead us. And do we feel supported? Do we feel like we can take risk in our organization? Do we feel like we can make tough choices in our organization, make mistakes in our organization, but still be supported by those that are leading us? Do the people that are leading us truly want what is best for us? Do they check on us day in and day out? And so, if you are in a leadership position now, maybe you're an aspiring leader, like I told you before, we're all leaders and we're all going to be in moments of leadership. But that's probably the biggest thing that you can take away from this episode is to check on your people, right? As a principal, I would make, I don't know, countless laps around the school each and every day. And on those laps, I was checking on my people, right? From the teachers, the custodians, the lunch ladies, you name it, peeking my head in. How you doing? How's your day going? Anything I could help you? How's your son? I know he was sick last week. That's authentic positivity. That is the power of relationships and connections. And that's what we're missing so much in our organizations. And the next one is practical ways that you can lead with positivity. I already kind of got ahead of myself here and shared several of them with you. Number one is right there, words of affirmation. People want to know that they're doing a good job. And a lot of times we walk by it, we see it, we shake our head, we tell ourselves in our brain, that was cool. That was really neat. They're doing a great job. We don't speak it out. We don't take the 10 seconds to pop our head in, clap our hands, and say, great job. One of the coolest things that we did when I was a principal is we started You Are Awesome cards. And I passed them out to all of our staff members and said, here's 5. Get rid of them before the next break. You need more, come see me. But when we see awesome things happening in our building, we need to recognize it. On the front said, you are awesome. On the back said, you're awesome because. And I just want you to write it down, fill it out, and give it to that person. Because so many times we don't realize what we're doing and how much it's appreciated. One of the activities that I do when I share professional development at schools is one of listening and one of connection. And we get in groups of 3. We go around in that circle, and each person shares what they think that that person brings to their organization, something that they love about that person. And every time we do this, I'm in tears. Everyone in the room's in tears. We're laughing. We're smiling because everyone doesn't know how much they bring to that organization until others that you don't even think know you work there share it with you what they admire about you, what you're bringing to the organization. So try it. You don't have to be in the school setting. Try that with your teams. Super powerful. Number 2 is to celebrate wins. Celebrate wins each and every day, right? You don't have to conquer a mountain. You don't have to reach the moon to celebrate it. Celebrate small wins each and every day. Look for the things around you that are going well, better than yesterday, right? To start doing that. Number 3 is to model optimism. This is really big when it comes to leadership. I think a lot of leaders want their staff, want the people that they serve to be positive and to stop sharing negativity with them. But then you walk around the corner and you start sharing negativity to those in your immediate circle, start gossiping about others. I mean, if you're a leader and you ask yourself, did I gossip this week? And the answer is yes, we got to change that, right? That is a problem because you are a leader. You're leading. Others are watching you, even when you do not realize that there are eyes on you. And so we have to model optimism and positivity. We're put in tough situations as leaders, tough decisions that have to be made. And how we handle those decisions and handle those situations are how our staff members and the people that we serve are going to handle similar situations when they are put in them. Positive team member, this is huge. One graphic that I share out sometime on social media, I share in PD, is that a lot of leaders spend all of their time pulling the weeds and they forget to water the flowers. And what happens to your flowers? They die, right? They're gone. And so that example in organization, a school, a company, is that I think as leaders, we spend so much time on the maybe 1 or 2, 3 negative individuals that we have in our organization that we forget to really support, value the 95% of people that would run through a brick wall for you. And we lose them because we're spending so much time focused on that negativity. Not only do we become more negative, but those that you're serving, they see it, they feel it, and they say, why am I putting so much into this when I'm not feeling valued and supported? And then the last one, number 5, is public and private encouragement. Sometimes it is okay, you're together, the whole staff say, stand up and let's cheer for that person, right? Publicly give them the encouragement, recognition that they deserve. But then other times it's okay to peek in the classroom or peek your head into their office and say, you're doing a great job. A simple message of keep it up. You're killing it, right? Never underestimate the power of a handwritten note. You want bonus points? Put their favorite candy bar with that note. All right. It goes farther than you'll ever realize. Just that private encouragement. I am proud of you. Great leaders turn challenges into lessons and lessons into success. That's a powerful one. You, again, think back into your life, the leaders that you've had, whether that's coaches, bosses, mentors, people that you respect as leaders, you would say they are a leader. They've been put in tough situations. You could think about challenges that they've gone through. How did they handle it? And so, what great leaders do and positive leaders do is they start by just acknowledging the challenge, not ignoring it, not just saying, oh, it's there, we're going to keep going. If I ignore it enough, it'll go away. That's not the case. 9 times out of 10, it's just going to keep growing and growing and growing until you can't ignore it anymore. So, start by acknowledging the problem. Number two is to reframe what failure looks like. So many times failure looks this way because it's looked that way for 15, 20, 30 plus years. We have to reframe our mind to say, you know what? That was just a setback. That wasn't complete failure here. Number three is to set realistic goals. We just talked about this last week with a group of teachers that I was working with. And they said, I hate in education that our goals are in May, right? We start in August and all of our goals are year end goals. And it's just tough because along the journey of the school year, there are a lot of seasons within the school year, I get lost. Not only do I forget about my goals, but I just forget, I lose track of how I'm going to reach them because they're so big. And I get discouraged and I just give up. And so a good friend of mine, Tron Young, I was on the phone with him yesterday, actually, and we were talking about this. And one thing that he does with the staff, they meet every Monday and they set goals for the week. And on Friday, before they leave, they say, okay, how did we do? Right? Take the weekend, reflect, and then we'll come back Monday. Do we need to adjust our goals? Do we set new goals? And so we get a week at a time, right? You can do bi-weekly, monthly, whatever works for your organization. But I love how Tron is setting realistic goals week by week, right? And number four is to be 1% better. I think I've mentioned this before, the Ron Clark book, but we don't have to go out and set records tomorrow. Tomorrow, just be out, I'm going to be better than I was today, right? And as leaders, we really have to take on that mentality. I think so many times we want success, we want numbers, we want growth, all of these things. And sometimes we just got to look back and say, you know what? We didn't hit that huge goal, but we got better today than we were yesterday. And then number five, I kind of mentioned this already, but don't ignore gossip, burnout, and negativity. Absolutely, positively, 1000%. You better not be the root of negativity, gossip, and burnout. But when you see it, you also better not ignore it. Just like the challenge, when you keep ignoring it, it doesn't go away, it continues to grow. All of a sudden, two people that are gossiping, it turns into 50 people that are gossiping, and two people that are burnt out and ready to quit, and they're pulling up that Target or that Starbucks job application on their phone, has now sent that application to 10 more people in your organization. And now you're looking at a mass exodus. And how are you going to hire all of these positions, let alone hire the quality of positions that you just had? See this all the time with principals. Like, wow, I didn't know that teacher was that unhappy that they left. Yeah, there were red flags for the past 2 years, and you ignored them. You didn't want to believe them, and now good luck, right? Finding a replacement for that teacher. And so at the end of the day, I'd like to wrap this up with today's world needs more leaders. So why not you? If you're already in a leadership position, this was for you to get better. If you say, I'm not a leader, or maybe I'm an aspiring leader, this is for you to say, my time is now, right? Leadership is not about titles, it's about impact. So many times, I say, well, you're the VP at the School of Life, you're the principal, you must have all the answers. No, those were just titles. I want to lead with impact, right? And so next episode, or maybe a couple episodes down the road, we're going to talk about how we can support you as leaders as well, because it's a tough position to be in. But we've got to start here. We got to start with positivity and promoting positivity in our organizations, in our workplaces, our communities, our families, everywhere. And so as we start to wrap up this episode, we're going to start with the power move, right? What's our power move this week? And that's to start finding the wins and build encouragement into your daily routine. All right. You can't start impacting others if you don't got it down yourself. So if you're at that spot, start right now by finding the daily wins. My wife started this. If you follow her on TikTok, our family page, Braun Party of Five, she started doing that, reframing her mindset. And each day she looks at things that she used to see as like, oh, I got to do the laundry, or, oh, dinner was a mess. To reframe your mindset and saying, what? This is a daily win. We get to eat at home as a family. We got the food that we want in our fridge, and this is something to be grateful for. Or I got all this laundry because we're home so much as a family. We're outside getting dirty and playing and all of these things. It's a good thing to have this bunch of laundry. And so reframing your mindset to celebrate those daily wins in your life. And then the final buzzer, or the call to action, as I like to call these, is to be intentional. If you have heard me speak, you are around me at all in my personal life, professional life, you know that intentionality is so important to me and talk about it a lot. But we got to be intentional with what we're doing, right? Because when we're not, the hours go by, the days go by, the weeks go by, and we're in the same spot that we were before. And so, three ways that you can be intentional. I think I kind of got these out of order, but one is to start small, one win each day. Be intentional by finding the win each day, journaling it down, writing it down. You want to post about it. That way you can hold yourself accountable, look back on it, but find a win in each day. Number two is to find three contacts of encouragement or gratitude every week. I like to do these on Fridays. I send text messages or handwritten notes out to folks that have been on my mind that week. But I just say, hey, thanks for being you. Thanks for, what you did for me in my life. Thanks for being a positive leader, a mentor, an encourager. You made a difference, right? Or it can be a text message as simple as, you've been on my mind. I hope you had a great week. Three contacts, three people each week. And then the big one, one action a month of saying, you know what, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be intentional about it. I'm going to spread a positivity in my organization. I'm going to spread positivity in my workplace. I don't have to be the boss, the leader to do this. I can do it in my position. I can be the one that, brings in cookies for everybody. It doesn't have to be something huge. Like literally bring in a tray of cookies. You're going to spread positivity in your workplace. And so that's all we got for episode 3. Hopefully, if you're a leader, you were able to take something from this episode. If you're not a leader, then hopefully you're able to take something from this episode, because our world needs more leaders. We know that our world needs more positivity. It needs more people that are doing the right thing, being kind to each other. And I truly believe it's a ripple effect. Others are watching, seeing how you react. And when they're put in that situation, that similar situation, they're going to do the same next time. So we know this, and we'll remind you as we start to go on into our homes, into our workplaces, wherever it may be. When positivity wins, we all win. Thank you.